Look at your results with the cold, surgical detachment of an architect. Stop lying to yourself about why you are stuck. You work harder, longer, and with more precision than the units positioned above you in the hierarchy. You possess more skills, more technical knowledge, and more field experience than the very people who are currently dictating the terms of your reality and capping your expansion. Yet, despite this overwhelming evidence of your superiority in the craft, you are still hitting the same invisible, jagged ceiling. You are experiencing the authority gap, the lethal systemic disconnect between being good at what you do and being the one who authorizes what is done. In 2026, the Matrix has sold you the ultimate psychological sedative, the lie that competence is the natural path to power. This is a containment protocol designed to keep the most capable individuals trapped in the role of high-level service personnel. You have been meticulously trained to be a master of the process, but in the pursuit of that perfection, you have entirely forgotten how to be the master of the vector. Competence without the corresponding authority is nothing more than a highly efficient, gilded form of slavery. If you are the most competent person in the room, yet you still find yourself waiting for approval or sign-off from a bureaucratic unit who doesn't even understand the mechanics of the work, you are not a leader. You are a sophisticated tool. Your brain, still stuck in the good student sub-protocol, erroneously believes that if you just do a better job, if you just polish the result one more time, the system will eventually recognize your value and hand over the keys to the empire. This is a fundamental biological and strategic error. The system does not reward competence with power. It rewards competence with more work and higher expectations. It views your rare skills as a natural resource to be harvested for the benefit of the collective, not as a reason to grant you sovereign autonomy. You are sweating in the engine room, optimizing every gear, while someone else is steering the entire ship into a social and financial iceberg, and you think the solution is to shovel more coal into the furnace. Look at the physical log of decay in your own career trajectory. You see it in the way you are consulted for your expertise, but never decided for the direction. You see it in the way your genius is used to fix catastrophic problems you didn't create, while the massive rewards and the recognition go to the units who simply own the space. This is the stench of the useful slave. You have become so focused on the how, the tiny details of execution, that you have lost sight of the why, the overarching command of the vector. Authority is not something that is granted to you by a committee or a promotion board. It is a biological frequency that you must broadcast from your core. It is the primal grounding of a man who refuses to be a variable in someone else's equation. If you do not close this authority gap today, you will spend your entire existence being the hidden engine behind a mediocre organization's success. You will rot in the competence cage, watching as less capable but more aggressive units seize the territory and the capital that should have been yours by right of conquest. Authority is not a gift. It is a tactical takeover of your own immediate environment. You must realize that the Matrix loves a competent worker because workers are replaceable. Architects are not. Every time you perform a task perfectly without demanding the authority to match, you are reaffirming your status as a high-value asset to be exploited. It is time to stop being useful and start being indispensable and sovereign. Authority is not about the words you speak or the credentials you carry. It is about the physics of your presence. In the animal kingdom and in the high-stakes industrial world of the architect, hierarchy is determined by the vector of absolute certainty. When you walk into a room, every biological unit within that space is subconsciously, instantly scanning for the alpha vector. They are not looking for the person with the most certificates on the wall. They are looking for the unit who owns the space. If you enter a room with the service protocol, shoulders slightly slumped, eyes seeking external validation, voice modulated for politeness and accommodation, you have already authorized your own subordination before you've even opened your mouth. You have signaled to the room that you are a resource unit looking for a direction unit to tell you what to do. You have essentially volunteered to be the building material for someone else's vision. To close the authority gap, you must immediately implement the visual rage protocol. This has nothing to do with being angry or aggressive in a childish emotional sense. It is about the cold, focused, terrifying intensity of a predator who has already decided the outcome of the encounter. Look at Lucky and Tyson. When they encounter a stranger or a new stimulus, they don't look for friendship or approval. They scan for intent and hierarchy. They respect the unit that doesn't blink, the unit that moves with a heavy primal grounding, and the unit that doesn't waste metabolic energy on meaningless social fluff. You must do the same. You must strip away the social social noise of your behavior. Stop the over-explaining. Stop asking for a moment of someone's time. Stop apologizing for being the expert in the room. Every apology is a leak in your resource dome. Authority is a zero-sum game of attention. If you allow others to dictate the geometry of the interaction, where you stand, when you speak, how long you are allowed to present, you are a guest in your own life. You must use the tactical silence, the intentional vacuum of power that forces others to reveal their weakness and their need for direction. When you do speak, your voice must carry the weight of the glacier. It must be slow, focused, resonant, and final. You are not contributing to the discussion or offering your opinion. You are issuing the verdict. This fundamental change in your metabolic frequency will trigger an immediate recalibration in everyone around you. They will stop seeing you as a technical asset to be managed and start seeing you as a system operator who manages the reality. The authority gap is closed the moment you realize that your competence is merely the ammunition, but your presence is the weapon. You must project the color of freedom, the absolute bone-deep certainty that you can walk away from any deal, any job, or any relationship because you are the source of the value. Once they realize that you do not need their approval to exist or to succeed, they will begin to beg for your leadership. You become the anchor point of the room. This is not a social skill. It is a biological takeover. You are rearranging the hierarchy through the sheer mass of your intent. The matrix has embedded a subordinate code into the very structure of your language, and you are likely using it every day without realizing how it drains your power. You use words like hopefully, maybe, I think, if that's okay with you, and just. This is the language of the renter. It signals to the system and everyone in it that you are a temporary, insecure occupant of your position, waiting for someone with real power to evict you or relocate you at their whim. The architect uses the language of the owner. He doesn't hope for results. He calculates the outcome. He doesn't suggest a path. He authorizes the vector. To reclaim your authority and bridge the gap between your skill and your status, you must perform a total linguistic disinfection. You must purge every single word from your vocabulary that implies you are seeking permission or that you are uncertain of your territory. This decoding must extend to your information hygiene. A subordinate provides data, reports, and options to their superior, hoping the superior will make the right choice. A sovereign unit provides directions and deadlines. When you provide options to a boss or a client, you are inviting them to be the architect of the decision. You are handing over your power on a silver platter and asking them to lead you. You must stop being a provider of choice and start being the source of the solution. This is the algorithm of the verdict. You present the reality as it is. You present the only viable path forward, and you initiate the execution immediately. If the system resists or hesitates, you do not plead or negotiate your worth. You withdraw your resource. You make the system feel the physical log of decay that occurs the moment your competence is removed from the machine. You teach them through absence, not through argument. Authority is built on the foundation of strategic scarcity. If your competence is always available, always free, always happy to help, and always just a phone call away, it has the market value of common air. You must create a resource dome around your skills and your time. You only deploy them when you have the authority to execute and the freedom to lead. This is how you bridge the gap. You move from being the mechanic who fixes the broken parts to being the engineer of the system who decides which parts are worth keeping. You stop worrying about being liked or fitting in and start focusing entirely on being indispensable. In the world of 2026, likability is a cheap commodity for the masses. Authority is the high-value currency of the elite. Your dogs don't like you because you are nice or polite. They respect you because you are the anchor of order and the source of the hunt. Apply this primal grounding to your professional and personal life. Stop seeking the yes from others and start being the absolute yes for yourself. Your words should be bricks, not smoke. When you speak, the world should feel the weight of your ownership. This is the final, non-negotiable command of the authority protocol. You must become the sole judge of your own reality. The authority gap exists solely because you have delegated the approval of your life to outside entities, bosses, partners, parents, or the faceless social collective. You are waiting for a certificate of existence or a permission slip for success that will never come from the matrix. The architect knows that the only authority that carries any weight in the real world is the one he grants himself in the silence of the citadel. You must look at the physical log of decay in the world around you, the crumbling institutions, the indecisive leaders, the hollow bureaucracy, and realize that the current authorities are mostly frauds, cowards, and biobatteries. They are not stronger than you. They are just more comfortable with the vector of command. To bridge the gap once and for all, you must commit a radical act of internal coup d'etat. You must overthrow the good student and the polite worker within you and install the architect of expansion on the throne of your mind. mind. This means taking 100% responsibility for your results, but also taking 100% control over your methods. You stop asking, is this allowed? And you start asking, does this serve the expansion? This is the color of freedom in its final, most powerful form. When you operate from this state of self-authorization, you become a disruptive force that the matrix cannot easily digest. You are no longer predictable. You are no longer manageable. You are a sovereign unit in the field, and the system has no choice but to negotiate with you on your own terms. The insight tax for this final transmission is the mandatory destruction of your subordinate habits. You must go out into your world today and authorize something that you previously felt you needed permission for. Reclaim a piece of territory. Issue a final verdict. Set an unbreakable boundary. Start the viral infection of authority in your own life. Show the world that the leadership gap is closed because the leader has finally arrived. Your stallions, Lucky and Tyson, are watching you. They don't need a servant to feed them. They need a commander of the hunt to lead them to new territories. Do not fail the millions of years of biology that has waited for this exact moment for you to finally take the lead. You are the architect. The world is your construction site, and you are the only one with the blueprints. Expansion or death. The gap is closed. The vector is set. The architect is in absolute command. Report in the comments. Authority seized. Verdict issued. The expansion is live. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. The world is yours to authorize and build as you see fit.